All right, WNBA draft time. I usually don't do these, but why not? As it's hard to know where players are going to go because the teams lie through their teeth saying who they might be interested in or not. As well, it's important to remember these contracts are not guaranteed, regardless if you're drafted in the first, second, or third round. So, in a lot of ways, I find it painful that all these players are dressing up and some of them aren't going to make the roster. I especially don't think the WNBA should do. I think it should be a one-round draft. There's just no point doing second and third round. I think the players should have the opportunity to choose the team they want to go to give them the best shot to make a roster. So without further ado, let's take a look at this. With the number one pick, the Indiana Fever take Rickea Jackson. No, just kidding. All right. Yes, it's Caitlin Clark, and it'll be celebrated. They'll put highlights on. How will she translate in the WNBA? You'll get warnings from the commentators saying the defense will be tougher, but she'll adjust. And I do agree with that. She has the one thing that you need, which is an outside shot, and that makes up for a heck of a lot of sins. Will she be the WNBA James Harden? Will she constantly be put in pick and roll to get her on defense? That will be the fun thing to watch to see what sort of liability she is on defense. With the number two pick, I think the LA Sparks are going to go Cameron Brink, but they're very analytical. I wonder if they are considering Rickea Jackson. I don't think they would take Camilo Cardoso. I don't see her going number two, but you never know. But I do think it will be, Cameron Brink for number two. She's that unicorn they would like, outside shot. Kurt Miller definitely likes his bigs to draft them, and I think he's going to try to build that organization. He wants to solidify their forwards and center up front, and then they know they're going to be back in the lottery next year and hopefully get Paige Beckers. I think that's the LA Sparks game plan. Number three is where it gets interesting. That is the Chicago Sky. Will they take Camilo Cardoso, Rickea Jackson, or Aaliyah Edwards? I think it'll be Rickea Jackson. I think they'll want to go with the guard and have her replace Copper, who they traded away, and they can say, this is our franchise player we're going to build around. Number four, it's back to the LA Sparks again. They could go in a number of different directions. They could go with Cardoso and say she will be Miss Inside and Brink will be outside. Sort of a WNBA Twin Towers, if you like, Ralph Sampson and Hakeem Olajuwon. Or they might just go totally off the charts and take a chance and say, we're going to take Nadia Potch. She is 6'3" wing from Australia, been playing in the WNBL. We actually think she's better than Rickea Jackson. Yep, we're going to roll the dice and take her, and we don't care what heat we get. But I don't think they'll do that. I actually think it'll be Camilo Cardoso. Now, the number five pick is the Dallas Wings. I think they will take Aaliyah Edwards from UConn. She is solid and does everything well. Again, Nadia Potch is a potential chance, as you need to remember Satu Sabali is going to be out as she had a shoulder recon. Not much has been talked about that, but because she hurt her shoulder when they played Brazil, she will not be available when the season starts, and the time frame for her return is unclear. I would think around July, but yeah, she's going to be out for a while. But I will go with Edwards. Now, with the Washington Mystics, they could go in a number of directions. Obviously, Deladon is retired. She's really pushing to be traded. So if Cardoso or any of the bigs are still there, then they would go down that direction. But I assume that it will be Nadia Potch who will still be available. And who they will select, as it's a bit out of the box and just ultra clever. And that's what the Washington Mystics pride themselves on. The Minnesota Lynx, they are number 7. I've seen a lot of mock drafts that have Angel Reese going there. I just don't see Cheryl Reeves drafting Angel. I could be wrong, but I just don't see it happening. I see them taking CJ Sheldon, the point guard. And that will be something interesting to take a look at. Who is the first point guard to go off the board? Will it be CJ Sheldon, which I think, or will it be Charisma Osborne of UCLA? Either way, I think it will be a point guard, as I think they're keen to get a young point guard to eventually take over for Courtney Williams, who they've signed. It seems like Minnesota has needed a point guard forever. With the number 8 pick, I believe the Chicago Sky, with their second pick, will take Angel Reese, which is a perfect pick for player and franchise. as it will help give them a face while they go through the rebuilding phase after the James Wade era ended mid-year last year when he walked away after trading away all their draft picks, which they had to recoup by trading off Copper to Phoenix. Just awful, James Wade. Shame on you. With the 9th pick, I think the Dallas Wings will take Alisa Peely, which is a high risk, high reward. Like, everybody's worried about her height and if she'll be able to get her shot off and how it will translate. But if it winds up doing it, then with her shot from the outside, it could be deadly. She could be a mismatch. Greg Bibb, who's in the Dallas front office, he likes being the smartest guy, and I think he would like this pick. Is if it comes off right, he looks like a genius. If it doesn't work out, it's just another one. It's a pick amongst a bunch of others that they have because they have so much draft capital, it seems like. They can take a chance on Peely. With the number 10 pick, the Connecticut Sun, I honestly don't know who they're going to take. The same thing with number 11 in the New York Liberty and number 12 with the Atlanta Dream. I would assume one of these three teams would take Charisma Osborne from UCLA, but to be determined which one it is. It would seem like New York would be a decent fit with her defense. So maybe the Sun will take Charisma with that pick. And then the next one after that is the New York Liberty with the number 11 pick. I saw in one mock draft they had Marquisha Davis going there just to help with their guard defense. Fine. I would assume they would do that. And then we'll say the other option is I could see them actually taking Liz Kitley and just stashing her so they don't have to pay her, or so they don't have to worry about trying to get her on the roster. And then the final one, or I could see Atlanta doing the same thing. So I would think between Atlanta and the New York Liberty, one of them might take Liz Kitley and basically stash her. Again, I'm not going to go through the second round as it's so hard to make a WNBA roster, and I just don't know how the teams are going to go on that and who's going to be left available. The interesting thing to me will be if Angel Reese falls. If she falls out of the first round, I don't think that'll happen. I think Chicago, or after Chicago, the Sun would draft her or somebody would draft her. But you could see that sort of being an Aaron Rodgers type situation where everybody's looking at Angel and seeing how far she'll fall. If they have concerns about her shot, and if these conservative front office execs are worried about Angel Reese, I don't think there's anything to be worried about. She was, by all accounts, a good teammate, but we'll see, to be determined. In the draft, one of the things to keep track of is the position battles of who goes first. One will be Brink versus Cardoso. The other one is obviously the power forwards, Angel Reese, Aaliyah Edwards, and Alicia Peely. The wing/forward as well. Will Nadia Potch go before Rakia Jackson? That will be interesting to see because I know some people are really high on Nadia Potch, but I just don't know. And then, as I mentioned before, who will be the first point guard off the board? Will it be Charisma Osborne or will it be C.J. Sheldon? I think it'll be Sheldon because her shot, I think, is a little bit more dependable. It's interesting. Cheryl Reeves was at the game when Ohio State played UCLA, so I'm curious to see if she really does wind up taking a point guard or if she feels like she's got that covered with Williams, who they signed in the free agency period. Anyway, now over to you for your thoughts, conjecture, poison. How have I gotten this wrong? Let me know your thoughts, your opinions. All right, have a great night. Enjoy the draft tomorrow.